Hey, this is GuyGore7, and today is the Intro to Web Development. And today we're just going to be talking about the basics of making your very first HTML web page, getting this, just the basic structure of the site down, along with simple things like the basics of CSS, styling, text, and all that good stuff. So anyways, let's just jump right into it. And the first thing you're going to need to do is open up your text editor. Me, I use Sublime Text, but you can just use anything that you prefer. Hell, even Notepad will do. So, you're going to start off by going to the file, selecting new file, and you're going to save as, and you can just call it whatever you want, but make sure you just put .html at the end of it. So, I'll just go example.html. Alright, so now what you gotta do is you gotta start off the file with the basic HTML structure. If you're confused about what we're doing here, check back on my other video called HTML Basics. So anyways, what we're just going to do here is HTML. Oh, and one thing I should mention is that in Sublime Text, if you just put in a regular HTML tag at the start and click that little pop-up, it automatically does the structure for you. So let's start off by putting in what we want our website to be called in these two title tags. It can be anything you want, but for me, I'm just going to put Untitled Site, because yeah, I'm a lazy jerk. Yeah, because I'm a lazy fuck. So anyways, with that done, we're just going to go ahead and while we're here, we're going to add something, a style tag, which I may or may not have mentioned in my previous HTML basics video. But basically, what these are for is to jazz the site up a bit, give colors to certain sections, jazz up the text with different fonts and colors. You get the idea. So anyways, now we're going to start adding more stuff to this page. And what we're going to start with is we're just going to start with some basic text. And we're just going to go and put in yeet because, yeah. Why not? Because, yeah, why not? ID equals yeet. And we're just going to put the information for the styling of that text within the style tag, like the color. But we'll worry about location later. But as you can now clearly see, the text that we just put in, that we just wrote in code, is now clearly visible on the screen. And if we go back into here, if we go ahead and change the position of the text, it'll clearly show up. So let's just go ahead and type in position absolute. And for those unseasoned coders out there that are just getting to know code, I mean, that are really new to the field, there are two types of positionings in HTML files. There's absolute positioning, which is a lot more rigid and well-defined, and frankly I prefer this one. I find it a lot easier when designing web pages. But there's also relative, which is a lot looser and can take a little more practice with, but yeah, for now we'll just go with absolute. Maybe I'll cover relative positioning in another video, but for now, let's just focus on absolute. And let's just go ahead and move, the text that we just wrote 500 pixels right by using the left command. So we're just going to go ahead and save this. And so now we can see that our text has moved 500 pixels to the right. Oh, and I should probably also mention that with that left property that we put in the CSS code for our text here. Whenever you put in the property for... Alright, so the best way I can explain this is basically imagine that the text has an x-coordinate that starts at 0, and its coordinate is at the leftmost side of the text. And so by however many pixels you put in for the left attribute, the left property, that's how many pixels that to the right that the text will be pushed right. And the same goes for right, where however many pixels are used in the right you define in the right property, that's how many spaces, that's how many pixels to the left the text will be pushed. Anyways, pretty quick side note. Pretty useless side note, but I just figured I might as well tell you. Anyways, let's start talking about divs. So, divs are supposed to be like the little container boxes that you might find on the site. You know, like those little squares that hold all the text or pictures or whatever is really on a site. So, the standard div tag is just div, and just like that, feel free to give it an ID. And so, we're just going to go ahead and there's nothing you can really put in the middle here. So we're just going to give this an ID of, I'll just put in you, because, yeah. So anyways, we're just going to give this thing this div some basic parameters, like its width. Let's just say its width is let's just say its width is 300 by 300. Oh, I'm sorry. Its height is 300 by 300. What? I don't even know. Alright, there we go. And anyways, we're just going to do some styling stuff, like its background color is like, we'll just go for like orange, because yeah, and we're gonna give it like a border width of 10 pixels with a border color of just black. And we're just gonna put its position somewhere. Yeah, we'll just say position is absolute, and we're going to push it to the right by about 800 pixels. Just go good. Oh, and save that. So now let's talk buttons. Buttons, pretty self-explanatory. Just go with button tag, just like that. And whatever you put in between the button tags is what is the text that's going to be on the button. And I'm just going to put in button. Obviously there's an ID, which is just button, which you can just edit any way you want, but for the sake of time I'm not going to. And you can also do this thing where you can type in a property of onClick, and then for those of you who know a lot more about JavaScript and are mostly doing this for a refresher, you just type in for the attribute for onClick, which basically tells the browser that once this button is clicked, run a certain function in the JavaScript part of the website. You just put in the name of the function that that's going to run when the button is clicked. For those who don't really understand, watch my JavaScript video. You'll get it. And now it's time to cover input bars. Alright, so the cool thing about this input tag is there's so much stuff you can do with it, where there's so many types of stuff you can do with it, there's so many different labels you can put on it. Just, it's a really great tool to have, especially in like registration forms or online surveys or account signups. It's just a really useful tag to have in your coding skill set. And so there are many different types of input, like you can do multiple choice selector thingy and type input. You can also have like a text area where you can type in a long list of words or whatever. But we're just gonna go for the most basic kind, which is just text. And this is just the kind of thing you find in your average Google search bar. You know, the type of thing you fill in with text on registration forms. You get the idea. And the name, it's a lot like an ID, but a little more complex. We're just going to put this in as a form. And yeah. Oh, and the cool thing about input tags is you only need one tag and not an end tag with a slash on it. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Anyways, let's just go ahead and save this. So there's a little input area. We can do whatever. We can type stuff into it. It looks pretty cool. But we can't really do much with it right now. But we'll probably cover these in later videos, so make sure to keep updated with that stuff. And last but not least, probably the most important part of HTML programming, links. And these are really powerful things. They can take you within the site itself, they can take you outside to different pages. It's a really cool thing to see. And so for our purposes, I'm going to give you two examples. One with internal links, which directs you to other pages within your own website, and then external links, which direct you to other pages. So anyways, you always start out links with the tag A. Yes, it's the tag A for some reason. And you're going to put in a hyperref attribute, and then assuming that it's an internal link, you're just going to type in the page within your files that you want to link to, say example.html. So that's pretty simple. But if you want to do an external link, you simply copy and paste the link of the page you want and paste it in. Oh, and as for this little space in the middle, you can type it up with whatever you want so that the link will have that text in it. So I'll just say, click here for something awesome. And so I'll just leave it at that. Anyways, you can just see the link here, and for good measure, let's just make sure that it works. Anyways, that's it. Hope y'all enjoyed. Be sure to like and subscribe. Peace.